Another feature that you must use all the time while coding with JavaScript is arrays. This is great whenever we don't know how many variables we need for a situation. So let's say I'm going to create an application where I need to have a variable for a fruit. So I'm going to create fruit apple, and then I can use that variable. If I save, you can see that I'm logging this on the console. But let's say then I need a second fruit. So I'm going to create another variable, fruit2 for banana, and then I'm going to log this fruit. And let's say I also need a third fruit for cherry, and then I'm going to log that third fruit as well. If I save, you can see I have apple, banana, and cherry. Everything works, but I don't know how many fruits I'm going to need inside my application. So perhaps I need fruit 4 and fruit 5 and fruit whatever. It starts getting complicated because it's hard to manage the number of variables whenever I don't know how many elements I'm going to have. Especially because I could go back and start deleting those elements. So let's say I no longer need banana, but now I have fruit 3, but what happened with fruit 2? So whenever we have a dynamic list like this, instead of creating variables for each one of those, we could create arrays. The idea is that I'm going to create a single variable, and for that single variable, I'm going to assign multiple values. The way I do that is using square brackets, and inside square brackets, I'm going to include multiple items, separating each one of those using comma. And then, if I want to know how many elements I have inside, I could use the proper .length to get how many elements I have there. Also, I could get an element from a specific position. Let's say I want to get the first fruit. I would use the name of the array, and between square brackets, I could include what is the index of the element I want to retrieve. Just remember, the array starts with 0. So the first element is going to be 0, the second one is going to be 1, and then this is going to be 2. Let's make an example. So let's say I want to create a variable for fruits. Let's do the same thing. I can break my array into multiple lines. I don't need to write everything to one single line. And then I can console log those fruits. If I save, you can see I have a list. Browser will display to me that I have 3 items inside here, and I have here apple, banana, and cherry. If I click on this arrow, I can expand, and I can also get the index for each one of those. So you can see it starts at 0, and then I have 1, and then I have 2, and the length is 3. In my code, if I want to get a specific one, as I mentioned, I could just say fruits of index 0, I get the first fruit. So if I save, you can see I get apple. Let's say I want to get fruit of index 3. In this case, I have 0, 1, 2. I don't have 3, that doesn't exist. So if I try to execute, you can see I get undefined. So the last element inside my array will always be the number of items that I have minus 1. Because if I have 3, then the last element is going to be 2. If I want to get this inside my code, I could write size received fruits.length. That would give me the size of my array. So if I save, I have these 3 inside here. And I can use all of that for creating a loop. So I could create something like this. For, and create my index from 1 to the length, and then I create my variable fruit, where I get the element of index I, and then I can log that fruit. So in this case, I is going to start at 0, it's going to add 1 more for each interaction, while I is less than the length of my fruits. Remember, it cannot be equal because I don't have index 3. And then I can get fruits of index from my variable, which would give me the individual fruit from that array. So if I save, this is what I get here: apple, banana, and cherry. I get each one of those throughout this interaction.